I now move on to lesson 7 about the noun, sentences, and conjunctions. The noun in Hebrew has two genders, either masculine or feminine. Unlike some languages like Greek, which would also have neuter, there is no neuter in Hebrew, only masculine and feminine. And the masculine singular, and notice the abbreviation, MSG, means masculine singular, has no additional ending, but the masculine plural, MPL, does have an additional ending, a hirik, yod, mem ending. Regular feminine nouns vary in their singular endings, some with nothing, some with kamatz he, some with some sort of a T, but are fairly uniform in the plural, which will tend to end with an ot. So this can be illustrated with the word horse. So you have a masculine form and a feminine form. The masculine word for horse is sus. The feminine word for horse would be a mare, and it would be susa. And it adds a kamatz he at the end. If you want to make horse plural, you would add a hirik, yod, mem to the word, and so it becomes susim, horses. Whereas with the word mare, you'll drop the feminine ending kamatz he and add the ot, so that the word for horses, or female horses or mares, becomes susot. So sus, susim, susa, susot. Those would be the four forms of the singular and the plural, masculine and feminine. There is, however, another form of plural in Hebrew called the dual. And that is formed by adding an ayim ending, a patah, and then a yod with a hirik under it and a mem with the accent receded. So two horses, as it turns out, is susayim. You add the patah, put the accent there, and then the yim ending, susayim, two horses. So there's actually three masculine forms: horse, sus, horses, susim, and horses, two horses, susayim. Same thing with mare, susa. The plural is susot. But then you have susatayim, where you will have a T from the feminine ending. Sometimes it's a kamatz he, sometimes it shows up as a T. But then the yim ending also is there. So susatayim is two mares, two female horses. Now the dual most commonly occurs with body parts that come in pairs. So here you have the word yad, which means hand. And it happens to be a plural, a feminine, I should say, even though it doesn't look like it. So it's listed here as a feminine noun, even though it doesn't have a kamatz he feminine ending or a T feminine ending. But when you make it plural, it shows up as a feminine, and you get yadot. That would be hands, plural. But if you want to talk about a person's hands, a pair of hands, then it would be yadayim. So take yad, add the ayim to it, and you get yadayim. That means two hands. And you can do the same thing with ear, ozen, which becomes oznayim, and other body parts will do the same thing. Now, some nouns are irregular in terms of gender and number markings. The word father is obviously a masculine singular noun, but the plural form has the feminine plural ending. So father is av, but fathers plural is avot, with a form that's normally associated with the feminine plural. The ot ending usually marks feminine plural nouns. So it's suffering a bit of gender confusion, you might say. Same thing with the word for woman. The singular for woman is isha, has a kamatz he, which is one of the markers of a feminine noun. But in the plural, it becomes nashim, with a hirik yod mem, masculine-looking ending. And obviously women are feminine, and yet the plural form of woman has a masculine-looking ending. And so that's just kind of an irregularity that one has to get used to. Again, a couple of other duals. Ozen is ear, but then you get oznayim, 2 ears. Yom is day, but then you can get yomayim, 2 days. Now, for both masculine and feminine nouns, the plural endings usually express plurality, but they can also express abstract ideas or emphatic titles. So here you have Ir city, the irregular plural is arim, cities. This can mean just a bunch of individual cities, but it could mean cities as an abstraction. And then here you have silver kesef, and the plural is kesefim, and it means pieces of silver or pieces of money. And then you have damim is blood. Plural would be bloods, literally, but it can mean bloodshed in the plural. And then you have the plural of God, which is Eloah, the plural of which is Elohim. But then it's often used of the one true God, a plural of abstraction. Plural of majesty or respect is another way of describing it when it's talking about the one true God, but it could also refer to gods in the plural. So a plural form doesn't always mean a plural meaning. Singular nouns can also have collective meanings. So the word eitz, tree, can mean a single tree, but it could mean tree as a category of things. Kind of like sheep and deer in English. You do have that singular of collective, that the singular form can have a plural sense to it. The plural of tree often means something like pieces of wood, eitzim, so it doesn't mean trees necessarily, but it means trees that have been chopped up. Now, nominal sentences are sentences expressed without an actual verb. And it can be done by juxtaposition of words. So if you want to say the king is on the horse, you would say the king, Hamelech. And then you don't need the word is. You can just say al-hasus, the king on the horse. And the word is implied. You don't have to actually write it. Same thing is true of Greek. You can also have verbalist sentences of this sort as well. Or misadik, who righteous, but it means who is righteous. To sound good in English, we have to add the word is, but you don't actually have to have it in Hebrew. Now, verbal sentences expressed with a verb are more common than nominal sentences. And in those sentences, the verb typically precedes the grammatical subject. So if you want to say the king walked in the garden, you don't say the Hebrew word order that the king walked. You would rather say walked the king. Halak hamelech bagan. The king walked the king in the garden. But you would translate it to make it in good English. The king walked in the garden. Now, biblical Hebrew has no case endings. The nominative and genitive and accusative and dative that you have in Greek and in languages like German. It has no case endings, but rather case relations are often conveyed by syntactical construction and word order as in English. We'll move on to coordinating conjunctions in the next video.